So right about now, we would all be in the car heading to a conference, the PMEA annual conference. Well, of course, this year, in the past 12, 13 months, none of us have been in the car traveling anywhere. But we are still offering a virtual conference for you at PMEA this year. And that's what we're talking about on today's PMEA's Take Note podcast, presented by the Slippery Rock University Music Department. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Take Note, where we're kind of giving you a preview of the PMEA annual conference happening April 14th through the 17th. So joining me today to talk about that is PMEA's president, Phil Stattel. And I should note, Phil is our first repeat guest on Take Note. So that's big. That's big. And Debbie Chrisman, who is the chair of the Professional Development Council for PMEA. Thank you so much both for joining us to talk a little bit about the conference.
Glad to be here.
So before we talk about the conference, I guess I shouldn't have introed it that way, but before we talk about it, I want to hear about what's going on in your neck of the woods, talking about teaching virtually and just what your school year is like up until this point. So whoever wants to go first, give us the report.
Well, ladies first. Go ahead, Deb.
All right. Well, I teach in the Perkiomen Valley School District, which is in District 11. So I'm in Montgomery County, one of the first county to get shut down a year ago. Our district took an interesting tactic, I guess, to the way our school year started. We were only completely virtual the first 3 weeks, and then started gradually bringing students back in based on grade level. Our secondary ran like a hybrid system where kids were in like two or 3 days a week. Our elementary basically ran a kindergarten program where kids were in either the morning or the afternoon every day. And then we still had students that chose to completely attend virtually. So in terms of how music worked, especially at the elementary level where I teach band and strings, their lessons were during their at-home part of the day. So from the start of the year, I was teaching everybody from one classroom with my tech set up and tables surrounding me from the beginning of the year up until March 19th. And then on March 22nd, we brought everybody back. So I've had a week and a half of students in person in front of me for the first time. And I will say, I am very glad to a point that I got to start my students virtually, especially my beginning band students, because I don't know how I would have been teaching embouchures from behind masks. So I am glad to actually get to make music in person the little bit I can with the kids now. And I am looking forward to see how things go the rest of the school year. So
you actually can have a bit of a socially distanced, instrumental ensemble happen?
Well, just lessons. Ensemble hasn't been a conversation. We have done back in the spring, we did have a virtual ensemble. Our district's been fortunate. The vendor we work with, Seswitz Music, provided us basically a recording company to do a virtual recording for us. So we had a grade 3 through 12 performance of our high school band director arranged Ode to Joy, and we had 325 students volunteer to participate. So for the fall, for this school year, we've been allotted 2 performances. So our 7 through 12 students in orchestra and band did a performance, and we just sent one off to the recording company for grades 4 through 6 band and orchestra. So that's looking like our ensemble performances for this year. Beginners, we're going to do some kind of at-home performance kind of through YouTube or Zoom or something. Those are still in the works.
But you're finding a way to do it, for sure.
Exactly. We're finding a way to do it.
Yep. Phil, what's the update in your area?
I'm up near State College. I'm a little small district called Penns Valley. And we had the shutdown like everybody else back in March, which still seems like we're in it sometimes. Is this 2021 or 2022? I'm not sure. Or 20, it's 20 something. And we got the complete shutdown and everything was virtual. and it was basically just survive the end of that first year. Then when we came back, we have gone through the whole gamut. We've had everybody there for the most part. We've had some students virtual the whole time. We had 2 weeks where everybody was virtual. We had another 2 weeks where we had our blue group in and the gray group, no, blue group and gray group were in, and then the white group was, school colors are blue and white, so I don't know where gray came in, but we had the blue group and the gray group in the one day, then the white group and the gray group the next day, and it just rotated 2 days 1 week, 2 days the next, and then we're back to everybody in. So it's been certainly a different year. I've been very lucky though in that I've been able to actually have rehearsals with my choirs. I started off with my junior high choir rehearsing outside in the front of the building with the cars and trucks and Amish buggies going by. A little distracting. We moved to the back of the building after about a week. A little bit quieter, and except for when the other classes came out for a mask break, and it's fun. Then it started getting colder, so we actually were able to get inside to the old gym, the auxiliary gym, because they built a brand new gym a couple of years ago. So now we actually have 3 gyms. So we can rehearse in the one, and we've been 12 feet apart with masks on the entire time in the gymnasium, which echoes like, oh, that's just hard to believe. And then my high school choir has been able to rehearse, since it's at the end of the day. We've been able to rehearse inside in the cafeteria. Again, but now they have desks there, so it's easy to separate them. Okay, leave a desk in each direction and you're good to go. Then we got 12 feet between everybody there. But again, it's been nice that we've actually been able to rehearse. We haven't been able to perform for anybody, but we have done a couple of recording things. We just finished up recording some things in the auditorium just this past week, so I'm trying to piece them together. But we still, like I said, we have some students who are virtual, so I'm going to have them just sing along, and I'll kind of piecemeal them in, hopefully. We don't have the wonderful gift that you got there, Deb, for a recording company to come in, so I'm trying to use my old Zoom little handheld mic recorders there, and I'm finding that they do make a lot of breathing type noise, so that's it's just for the kids, so that's okay. But it's been interesting, and finding new ways to get kids to play xylophones and other instruments in my general music classes, with cleaning the mallets between periods and whatnot. It's been interesting, but we're making do, and I think we're having a little bit of fun yet.
Yeah, you're making it work. I mean, I think that's the story of the year for education. That's probably the story of the world for all of us in the last year. You know, you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, so you just, you keep making it work.
Yeah.
And speaking of just making it work, let's talk about what we're here really to talk about, and that's the PMEA annual conference. So normally we'd all be heading somewhere right now. We'd be in the car going to the conference. Not this year, so that's kind of maybe the good thing. We can go to the conference from our couch, but we don't get to really connect with anyone in the ways that we did in the past, although there will be ways to connect. So let's talk a little bit about going virtual. What is this going to be like? Talk about this whole idea of just moving this whole conference and the All-State Festival really virtual.
Well, one thing is we had the summer conference last year, which was a big plus because we got a lot of good reports from that and how things worked, and found out what things did work well online and what things didn't. One of the nicest things about doing a virtual one, which we found out last summer, was after we were done, all those sessions were recorded and people could go and then listen to them whenever they wanted to. So even if you couldn't make it for the day that the session actually happened, you could still go back. I think we had it for 60 days at that point, and go back and just listen to whatever session and participate in it that way, and still get the Act 48 credit. So that's a big boon there. The other thing is you don't have to worry about paying for a hotel room, toting all your stuff back and forth, and like you said, do it from the comfort of your couch, and put your feet up and get relaxed and just get some good information. So that's a one big plus right there, which I think we've kind of found out along the way. It can be a little bit more relaxed that way. The biggest thing that you miss though is going to be the interaction with the folks that you normally would be hanging out with. between sessions, at a concert, at a session, and getting that face-to-face interaction. But that's been missing all year, and we're hopefully going to be getting back to a little bit more of that, even maybe this summer. We're looking at that for the summer conference, of doing possibly something, or some part of it at least, in person. So hopefully we're heading in the right direction. And then with vaccines and everything else coming around next year, this hopefully will not be even a distant thought in our minds. It'll just be, okay, that was then, this is now. But doing the sessions online, we've already done that, and Deb can talk to that, I'm sure. But doing the festival, the group's performances, that's going to be a little bit different. And the biggest thing you'll notice is that they're not doing as many pieces as normal. I mean, you'd go to an all-state conference and you'd have a full concert just by the chorus. You'd have a full concert, and it's not going to be that way, because there's just not enough time to melt down all those individual recordings into one big session to do that, and the cost would be prohibitive in that too. But the kids are going to get some wonderful work with some wonderful directors and some wonderful helpers for the session, the breakout sessions, where they'll have some sectional rehearsals. So when they do their final recordings, they'll be very well prepared, and I'm sure we're going to have a fabulous performances by these groups.
So yeah, Deb, so please talk to the point of these sessions all being virtual.
Absolutely. So as Phil alluded to, in the summer, we had to pivot really quick to figure out, okay, how do we transfer a whole conference? PMEA had been doing webinars for a while, but to figure out how to transfer the conference into a completely virtual platform. So we kind of got our training wheels through the summer conference, figured out ways. A lot of things in the summer conference did kind of happen live, a few glitches here and there. So I think we've taken what we've learned, the positives and the constructive criticism from how the summer conference went, and have transferred it into planning for this spring conference. So a lot of what we looked at in terms of sessions, we still looked at all of our different strands: instrumental, classroom music, technology. We added a little bit more wellness into the different session choices, but we really looked at choosing session topics that, one, would reflect what we've all worked through over the last year, and also looked at things that we thought would translate well in a virtual platform versus, some sessions may not work best through the computer. So there were some things we thought maybe we would save until fingers and toes and everything crossed can be back in person again. So I think we do have a very well balanced sessions choices for our attendees for this year.
Yeah, so let me just throw out a couple of things to look forward to. So over 60 on-demand sessions released throughout the week. Live open forums on Thursday night, which, if you remember back to the summer conference, was a huge hit. To hear that. Some keynotes, Byron Stripling, the principal pops conductor of the Pittsburgh Symphony Orchestra, the first podcast guest here. If you want to go back and get a little refresher, take a listen to him. Just a fascinating person, really inspiring. And what's going to be great about that keynote is the All-State students are going to be able to tune into that one as well. On Saturday, NAFME's president, Maggie Spradley, will be joining us. And then an organization that I don't know if people have heard about, but you have time to look it up before the conference, United Sound. Their executive director, Julie Duty, is going to be keynoting to talk about what United Sound does, as well as provide a little inspiration. And then, of course, we all miss the concerts, right? We all miss, Phil alluded to that, we all miss sitting there and enjoying the concert. So we do have some music at noon on Saturday. WindSync is a quintet that is absolutely phenomenal, and they have programmed a half-an-hour performance specifically for us. So those are just some of the highlights. PMEA.net is the place to find more information on that, and make sure you register for the conference because it's available for 90 days. I mean, these recorded sessions, that you can't pass that up. But I want you to talk a little bit about just why is professional development even probably more important now as we're maybe nearing the end of the pandemic, as you said, fingers, toes crossed, right? Maybe why is this professional development opportunity more important than ever?
One aspect, again, because it's virtual, it's more accessible to everyone. You know, in a normal year, a conference attendance might look like heavy on the high school director end. They might be bringing students to a festival for All-State, or it might be based upon proximity. For example, this year would have been an Erie year. So as an Eastern PA girl, my car's not going to miss the 8-hour drive out there, but I can sit and watch and learn from fantastic educators across the state and from other areas as well, from the comfort of my couch. Yes, am I going to miss mingling and walking through that exhibit hall and talking with colleagues from across the state in person? Yes, absolutely. But there's so much we can take in. And again, because we have access for those 90 days, you know, you can piece your way through as many sessions as you want up until July.
And, you know, PDE hasn't said, well, Act 48 is done for, you know, the next 10 years or whatever. So we still need to get all that taken care of as a teacher in Pennsylvania. And I mean, you can take care of with all these sessions, what, 60 or so?
Yep.
That's
60.
a lot of Act 48 hours that you can get from this one festival. Now, are you going to do all of them? I don't think so. It would be great if you did, because I'm sure you can probably find something in each and every single one of them. In every single festival that I've gone to, or every single conference that I've gone to, the sessions that have been offered, whether it's at the district level, at the region level, or the state level, the people that we have teaching in Pennsylvania really, really know what they're doing, and they know how to share that information. And I have always found something to take away from every single session I've gone to. I can't name one that I went to and said that was a total waste of time. I mean, I would have to search my brain, and I still would probably say, well, no, I did remember, I did like that one thing that they did there, and that really came in handy when I had this class. So, I mean, the fact that we've got all this talent within Pennsylvania sharing their knowledge and their skills with everybody is just fabulous. So, I mean, to miss out on any of these sessions is wrong. You need to go, you need to show, and be part of it.
Let me highlight, bold, underline one point that you made, Debbie. You know, you're right. When we go in person to a conference, maybe it is a little high school heavy, and that's kind of because that all-state system is there. One of those really positive comments after the summer conference was, someone said, you know, this was really affordable for me to sign up to attend this conference. I didn't have to pay for the hotel. I didn't have to, you know, pay to drive there. My district wouldn't normally cover that stuff, but they were willing to cover this because I was just, you know, it was that small amount, and look how much professional development I got out of it. So because of that, to your point, there is so much for everyone here. So I think that's crucial point. So thank you for making that.
And there are going to be some live portions of the events also. I mean, there are the forums that we're going to have, the choral and band, orchestra, and general music, where we can actually sit down and talk amongst each other and not just listen to somebody else talking. We can get our points put across. And there's going to be a way for you guys, for everybody, to participate in the live events, and because if you have a question, you can put it into the chat, and then that'll be given, and we'll get some information for you back from the sessions that you attend also.
Yeah, so you can actually, on some of the sessions that are recorded, put your question in, and that presenter will come back into that chat. So you'll have to go back and check, but again, it's 90 days. It will be there. So, okay, let's talk about this other new thing that's happening as part of the conference. So it's the Crescendo Student Conference. So before we get into the specifics of it, I want to play this video that's been out there that's just a little bit of a promo. So take a look at this.
And what I'm most excited for is to speak with a Broadway dancer, you're not interested in pursuing music as a career, this is still a great program for you to virtually attend.
P to the M to the E to the A. Not much else that I could say, so sign up with no delay.
So join me for the Crescendo Project on April 17th.
Okay, so that was just a little minute or so taste of what this Crescendo conference is. You heard from some students in there who are attending. You heard from Sharon Dawn, who is presenting Hip Hop 101. I think that's going to be one of the most popular sessions. And then all of that background music and the flute player you see there is Dr. Brittany Trotter, who is going to be doing the flute masterclass. So just kind of some of the highlights of what you'll see at the conference. But so Phil, if you could kind of talk about where the idea of this student conference came from and what are we going for with this?
Well, this really came out of the fact that we got to the board meeting at the summer conference. And we were thinking at that point, are we even going to be able to have a conference next year? We're probably not going to have a live event. The way things were looking at that point, trying to just figure out, okay, what school is even going to allow their students to go to a festival where they have to stay with other students in a hotel room and be, if you're in a chorus or band, you're this close to the person next to you or closer. So we started thinking and said, okay, well, we still want to have a festival. We'll see about doing virtual. Now let's think out of the box. What can we do? Let's make something good come out of this pandemic. We've been talking about trying to get at the board level and exec level, how do we get more students and more teachers involved with PMEA? Because we have the festivals, we get a lot of students through that. But then it winnows it down more or less. And when we get to the All-State Festival, we've only got, a certain amount of students from each area. But we felt that what can we do to get more students involved? And Crescendo is it. It's for students who are not necessarily interested in going the festival route to get to All-State, where they can, see a lot more when they're there, see parts of the conference. We already had the Future Music Educators Honor Symposium for students who want to be educators and move on in that route, or at least try that out. We said, there are a lot of students who are in our programs who are not necessarily going to become teachers, are not necessarily going to become just performers. What else is there? There are a lot of other fields within the field of music. And how can we attract those students? And basically, Tina Bennett was one right off. It's like, well, we should start doing this, this, and this, and this. And the next thing we know, we've got this Crescendo, which is now for basically any student who is interested in music. Even if you don't want to go into music, this is an area where you can go to figure out maybe what you could do in music. You don't have to be a singer. You don't have to be a trumpet player. You don't have to be the lead trombone, okay? But you can get into recording. You can get into pop music. You can get into all sorts of things, music therapy. And that's what we were kind of thinking of. Let's see if we can bring some more students into PMEA, get them involved, show them what sort of things are out there. So, I mean, there are going to be lots of master classes in this. There's composition, there's going to be retail and repair and music production, music theater. There's all things that go on behind the scenes that have really a whole lot to do what goes on out front. That if those people were not there, that performance would not be happening. As a teacher, we take care of almost all that stuff ourselves. We have to take care of making sure that the sound's taken care of. We have to make sure that the lights are done. We have to make sure that everybody arrives on time. We've got to make sure the programs are done. These are the things that we just do second nature, basically. But they're all things that are actual jobs out there that take on a whole new life once you're out of the high school and junior high school area. Because people can make a living at doing sound recording, at doing live performances, at doing staged, working at backstage, working, well, at least hopefully once Broadway opens up again. But, there's a whole lot that you can do. Even out in if you think out in Hollywood, think of your favorite movie without the music.
Right.
And you never see that music unless it's an integral part of the show. You never see what's going on with that. I just love the one thing they had on Disney the other night. My daughter was watching it. It was all about Frozen and how the music was put together for that, and the people and how they worked it. And it was just a whole wonderful sort of thing to actually see, to put that out front. And that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to put all the other parts of music and the music industry, put that out front for the students to be able to see, and then maybe find something that they really can latch onto and do for themselves.
And so beyond the career stuff, beyond the 15 plus master classes, there's other just fun stuff. Yoga for musicians. There is a marching band one that has the director from LD Bell High School in Texas, which is one of the greatest marching bands in the country, and they work with the Chrisman Drum Corps. And all of that session information is online, pmea.net/crescendo. And if you are registered for the conference, if you are a music educator coming to the conference, you can come to these sessions. I mean, they are designed for the students, but you are certainly welcome to come and observe them. I think some of the sessions would be fantastic to observe, but to observe some of these master classes with some of the names that are coming in, I think is also a tremendous opportunity. So,
yeah, and they've worked real hard to get not just somebody that you already know from the teacher down the block, which is great. I mean, and we're wonderful resources, but nationally known names and people who are doing these jobs professionally. So it should be a wonderful opportunity for your students and for yourself, like you're saying.
Absolutely. So much to check out at the conference. PMEA.net is the place to find all of it. Phil and Debbie, thank you so much for joining us, and of course for all the work that you're always doing for PMEA. We really appreciate it. And to all of you, thank you for joining us on this edition of the Take Note podcast presented by the Slippery Rock University Music Department. We also want to thank our sponsors, the Bucknell University Music Department, Lebanon Valley College, and Robert M. Sides Family Music Centers. We'll see you next time.